It all started when Dido Wilcox bought the area of Rancho La Barra that his wife then christened as Hollywood. After a few years, Wilcox sold large residential lots to wealthy Midwestern looking to build homes so they can winter in California. After the Wilcox raised the funds of building churches, schools, hospitals, and shops, Hollywood quickly became a complete independent society. In 1911, the Nestor Company opened Hollywood's first film studio in Old Tavern. Not long thereafter, the studio began making movies in the area drawn to the community for its open space and climate.
Well, here we are. This is the Warner Studio.
Gee, I've never been so thrilled in all my life.
During the creation of film, many houses at the boulevard were replaced by commercial buildings, banks, restaurants, and clubs to serve the thriving rise of films. The Hollywood Boulevard was officially the entertainment district of California and the US. Hollywood was largely the product of 6 movie studios. It ran over 30 years by a group of Jewish immigrants. These Jewish immigrants had similar backgrounds. All of these men who founded Hollywood were born within 500 miles radius from one another. For many Jewish immigrants that had left nothing behind, it was a challenge to find their way to America by their songs, storytelling, theater, and humor.
And it's a talent most people should learn how to make you laugh without saying a word. People have to yell nowadays to get heard. But Charlie was a man and that man could turn serious into delirious. He had a myriad of ways to paint a smile, and every woman in the house went, oh, if they wanted to act, they better act on cue. So he kicked the game, go figure. Had no time for gold diggers. The Mac Daddy of the 1930s. I'm kicking back on the couch watching Modern Times. One more time.
Here comes the question that how Hollywood has gained such a great power. According to the Robertson, one way for the powerful to maintain the status quo is to define and disseminate the society's dominant ideology. The term dominant ideology describes a set of cultural beliefs and practices that help to maintain powerful social, economic, and political interests. Hollywood, as one of the main key players of mass media, has applied different methods such as propaganda, manipulating the subconscious part of the mind, and expose them to the messages that they frame. Jewish constitutes only 3% of the population of United States. Despite this fact, they play a prominent role globally since the creation of Hollywood.
Since the dawn of American cinema,
Hollywood is the embodiment of the American dream.
Hollywood is a media triumph.
It entertains, makes billions.
The power of Hollywood, the power of images to program the mind is not debated. You are being subconsciously programmed. When you go in one of these movies and just turn yourself over to it and suspend a disbelief, you become a willing victim to have your mind literally programmed in that key fear state. Because when the mind is in that fear state, it is wide open to be reprogrammed.
For almost 100 years, Hollywood has been the world's most persuasive chronicler of America's history. Hollywood's myth-making began with one of the first and most famous of all cinema epics. Birth of a Nation was supposed to be a true-life account of the United States' own birth pangs.
Network Movie is one of the most insightful movies of all time. The movie shows an anchorman that reveals the power of mass media.
Because you people and 62 million other Americans are listening to me right now. Because less than 3% of you people read books. Because less than 15% of you read newspapers. Because the only truth you know is what you get over this tube. Right now, there is an entire generation that never knew anything that didn't come out of this tube. This tube is the gospel, the ultimate revelation. This tube can make or break presidents, popes, prime ministers. This tube is the most awesome goddamn force in the whole godless world. And woe is us if it ever falls into the hands of the wrong people. And that's why woe is us that Edward George Ruddy died. Because this company is now in the hands of CCA, the Communication Corporation of America. There's a new chairman of the board, a man called Frank Hackett, sitting in Mr. Ruddy's office on the 20th floor. And when the 12th largest company in the world controls the most awesome goddamn propaganda force in the whole godless world, who knows what shit will be peddled for truth on this network? So you listen to me. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We're in the boredom-killing business. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you that Kojak always gets the killer and that nobody ever gets cancer in Archie Bunker's house. And no matter how much trouble the hero is in, don't worry, just look at your watch. At the end of the hour, he's going to win. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. We're all you know. You're beginning to believe the illusions we're spinning here. You're beginning to think that the tube is reality and that your own lives are unreal. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like the tube. You eat like the tube. You raise your children like the tube. You even think like the tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion. So...
The hypodermic needle theory, developed in 1920s, suggests that mass media has a direct, immediate, and powerful effect on its passive audience. The mass media in 1940s and 50s were perceived as a powerful influence on behavior change. According to agenda-setting theory, the media can't tell you what to think, but it can tell you what to think about. The theory, which is developed in 1972, shows the correlation between what people think are important and what media gives prominence to. Media has the power to focus people's minds on particular issues. Hollywood, with its great power, has manipulated the image of Arabs. This act traces back to 150 years ago, when the British and French traveled to the Middle East. They translated how they viewed Arabs. These depictions were shown as form of visual arts. The artworks included wealthy sultans in vibrant silk clothing, surrounded by a group of exotic females. The images then transmitted by the Americans.
The mountains of the moon into our country, Mr. Tyrone. You will be stepping back 2,000 years.
The consistent stereotypes of Arabs has been repeated over and over. The stereotypes that tag Arabs as terrorists, violent and sexual predators. In all aspects of American culture, Arabs are perceived as the deviant people. Arab characters are often used as villains in comic films. Aladdin is one of the popular Disney movies that has many negative stereotypes about
You must be
Arabs.
hungry. Here you go.
You'd better be able to pay for that. Do you know what the penalty is for stealing?
No, please!
Just listen how the content of the intro of the cartoon shows Arabs as highly deviant people in children's mind.
I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam. Where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. When the wind's from the east and the sun's from the west and the sand in the glass is right, come on down, stop on by, hop a carpet and fly to another Arabian night.
In some other movies, Hollywood shows Arabs buying the chunks of America and cause economic recession in the country. Network movie is one of the brilliant examples that shows how Arabs use their oil capital to buy America.
Before, they're buying it for the Saudi Arabian Investment Corporation. They're buying it for the Arabs. Hell, they already own half of England. So listen to me. Listen to me, goddammit. The Arabs are simply buying us. There's only one thing that can stop them. You. I want you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and write a telegram to President Ford saying, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale, and I won't have it. Is that clear? You think you merely stopped a business deal? That is not the case. The Arabs have taken billions of dollars out of this country, and now they must put it back.
Another movie that propagandized the same point is Rollover.
Mrs. Winters, I think I should tell you there are those in the family who do not think we should be making this offer at all. I assume if you could have found venture capital of this sort for a company like Winterchem in America, you would not be coming all the way to Arabia looking for it.
Arabs are often seen as sexual predators in Hollywood films.
Dogs are better than sheep. They're cleaner, I know, I've tried.
In the movie Drill of Night, the Arab men are seen to trick women and keep them imprisoned in their houses.
I'm gonna kill you.
In the James Bond movie Never Say Never Again, a blonde Western lady is abused by an Arab man. Then she is tied to a pole strip naked, auctioned off to a Bedouin.
And if I gotta go, you gotta go.
You can see how Arab women are seen as highly sexual belly dancers since the beginning of Hollywood. Another kind of prejudice and stereotype against Arabs is Islamophobia. Hollywood continues to show Arabs and Muslims as terrorists and increase the hatred of the world by associating these tags.
This apparently is the same group which just detonated a nuclear bomb in the Florida Keys.
Crimson Jihad will rain fire on one major U.S. city each week until our demands are met.
Islamophobia now is a part of our psyche. Words such as Arab and Muslim are perceived as threatening words. And if the words are threatening, what about the images that we see in the cinema and on our television screens? We are at war with Iraq. We went to war in March of 2003. But didn't our entrance to the war, wasn't that made a lot easier, primarily because for more than a century we had been vilifying all things Arab?
When it comes to the question that whose culture is Hollywood's, we should realize it is a culture that meets the objective of politicians and capitalists. It refers to the conflict perspective that shows a cultural war between countries, though the American way of thinking has dominated the worldwide culture. We have to take this stand and say this is morally and ethically wrong to demonize the people.